Hello, guys, and welcome to the Peak Podcast, where we bring on coaches, leaders, thought leaders, and hear about those aha moments throughout their career, learn about their background, and more importantly, just their story. And we try and put you guys as the fly on the wall. We're recording a 15 to 20-minute conversation. That's what we do here. As you guys know, we are the co-founders of Peak Fulfillment Coaching, where we send people on self-guided solo retreats to ultimately find clarity and set that vision forth. If you're listening to the podcast right now, we're coming into 2025. We have a lot of people on solo retreats right now, and we're seeing a lot of major transformation and a lot of vision crafting coming into the new year. So you know where to reach us, peakfulfillment.co, or shoot me an email, eli@peakfulfillmentcoaching.com. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on Sami, who is a communication coach at the Belford Group. It's going to be an awesome conversation. So again, without further ado, Sami, welcome to the Peak Podcast.
Eli, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to join the conversation today.
For sure. And like I've told you before, this is just you and me going back and forth.
Right.
It's very, very informal. It's like we're grabbing a beer and we're just catching up, getting to know each other. So anything that you have on your side, feel free to ask it. We're just having a combo. So
I love it.
We usually do icebreakers, and an icebreaker right now, we're coming into the holidays. What is your favorite Christmas movie?
Definitely Elf. Every time, every year, no matter what, just the ridiculousness of Will Ferrell. Can't beat it.
I love it. Okay. It's on Christmas Vacation for me. What about Christmas song? Do you have a Christmas song that you like?
So the first one that pops in my head is it's the one Christmas song that will make me cry every single time. And it's Christmas Shoes, about a little boy who can't afford a present for his mom. He just wants to buy her shoes because frankly, she's sick and she's about to die. And so this man buys the little boy shoes.
Oh, geez,
I don't know why.
Trying to cry.
This is not my favorite Christmas song, but it's the first one I think of that when I hear it, I'm like, yes, Christmas time. Bring all the tears out.
Gotcha. Okay. The reason I asked that, we usually just do one, but when you said Elf, my favorite song is where he gets hit by that car. He gets hit by the taxi, and it's called Sleigh Ride, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Playing as he's hit by the car. That's my favorite one. I don't know why. And it sticks to me. Every time I hear that song, I think of Elf. I think of that one part in Elf, and I'm always happy.
You think of him getting hit by the car and then apologizing for it.
Exactly. Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, that's awesome.
That's so fun.
Thank you for being here. Really loved our pre-chat. Our team loved everything that you have, what you've got going on. So let's start with, what is your role as a communication coach? So that's how we kind of introduced you. Let's pick that apart a little bit and let's talk about what a communication coach is and how you view that role.
So for me, a communication coach, I am there to help you craft conversations in a way that feels authentic to yourself, in a way that feels natural. It doesn't feel like you're following somebody else's script. I think sometimes people have come to me and they say, tell me what I'm supposed to tell my boss to get a raise, or how I'm supposed to set this boundary. And I was like, okay, well, if you were at beer with a friend or getting cocktails and your friend asked you for advice, what would you tell them? And they have this beautiful answer about how they would tell their friend to respond. And I'm like, great. So what's holding you back from saying those things? So while it is a lot of communication, it is still, what is the, most of the time, what's the internal communication with yourself that keeps you from saying the things that you should say? That's basically one of the main differences, I think, is that I ask a lot of questions about people's conversations with themselves. So
that is a really cool approach. I've never heard of that. Like, what does that conversation look like between you and your shoulder here, that little guy on your shoulder? What does that look like? That's a very cool way to say it and put it.
And I would argue that, both little guys on your shoulder, the little angel and the little devil, they probably both have roles to play, and you can't just shut down one all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work that way. And so we ask about, is it the coach talking, the critic talking, or the cheerleader talking? Gotcha. We like the coach to talk. The critic and the cheerleader can have their roles, but the coach is probably going to help you move forward a little bit better.
Absolutely. Wow, that's really cool. What do you do to kind of I mean, is it really just a series of questions that you ask these people to kind of break down? I'm not going to call it an ego wall. We deal with we see that come through our program, right? Until they feel vulnerable, what we do typically is we open the Komodo and we just start talking about really deep, raw, transparent stuff, and it seems to drop that guard, and it creates a very safe camaraderie in our community.
Mhm.
So, what is it for you guys? Do you feel that um, that does that and that breaks that communication wall down for your guys' clients?
I like to think about it that I try to go in from like a side door, not always a back door, but usually when people come to me, especially for a communication problem, they say, I need help telling so and so to just leave me alone, to F off or do whatever. I'm like, great, let's unpack some of what's happening here. Let's unpack this motivation, your why, different things like that. And I really try to get them to tell the whole story. And then I just reflect back to them often what I hear. This feels a little bit like letting people behind the curtain to know that
Yeah,
I'm not often giving them
sure.
magical advice that
Oh,
I know and that they don't know, but I'm just be able to act a little bit as a mirror
yeah.
to say, did you hear yourself say X, Y, and Z?
Wow.
Did you notice this pattern, this thing you continue to come back to?
Sure.
And that reflecting back to them is usually where we'll start to sort of uncover the cracks. But I like the ego wall and finding how do you build a safe space.
Yeah.
Some of my clients come in day one and first conversation, we're all in tears
Sure.
and we're jumping in. Other people, you gotta mold the clay a little bit more, get a little bit softer to get to that. But often I find when people are asking for help, they're ready to open up and show you what's under the hood.
Yeah, that's so cool. Man, like I said, I think we have a lot in common. We our whole coaching program is built on the answers inside of all of us, and you just need that
Mhm.
solitude and that space and give yourself that permission to do that work. So very similar to what you said. It's like you're not there's not like some magic wand. You're just
Yeah,
asking them these deep questions to look at themselves that they have not they have no experience, they have no access to that. So that's where you step in. As a leader, I'm sure you guys work with a lot of leaders. Is that right? Do you was that a
absolutely.
okay? I'm so what is the word, passionate about leadership, because I've seen like the spectrum. I've seen horrible leaders and I've been under horrible leaders and I've been under great leaders. And what do you, from a communication standpoint, what makes an incredible leader?
I think from my perspective, being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes is a huge component of being an excellent leader. That if you are
Mm,
leading a business and you say, these are the goals, top down, everybody accomplish, and you don't necessarily take a moment to see, well, what is Amy going to have to do in that situation? What is Jack going to have to do to make this happen? How is that going to make their life better or worse? Different things like that.
mm,
You may not always get the buy-in that you're looking for. I also think that if you are wanting to change anything, understanding how that change is going to impact people, or maybe even what motivates them,
sure.
what are they afraid of? Getting clear on those things can make it easier to help bring people along on the journey.
Yeah.
Leaders can just say, you have to change, get over it.
Mhm.
I don't know that that would be a great leader in my own opinion. And so I think empathy and really being able to understand how other people tick
Mhm.
really can make a difference.
Very cool. Is there a leader or mentor that gave you a spark of passion to get into this line of work? Is there somebody in your life that lit that fuse?
I There's 2 people in particular that come to mind. Number 1 is my business partner and my mom. Her and I have been working together now for about 4 years within this coaching space, but she has been doing this work for a lot longer and uh seeing the way that she has messed up along the way and seeing the way that she picks herself back up after those mess ups really has inspired me that
That's really
it
cool.
kind of doesn't matter what what mistakes you make so long as you keep going. You can continue to hold true to your character. And then when I was corporate, I really had a mentor who is my boss. Feels like she plucked me out of obscurity and saw a little nugget and a spark in me. And she took so much time to just pour knowledge into me and help me grow, that the way that she would do that and would put herself in other people's shoes really has stood out with me. And I try to exemplify that in my own leadership and help other people as well.
Yeah, those are definitely the best leaders. 100%. If I were to define it, it would be like a very authentic leader that understands and doesn't veer from their core of why they started something. I'm speaking more to entrepreneurs, or about an entrepreneur. And like you said, empathetic and authentic. Those are like the two words that I describe a really good leader, at least that I've seen in my world. So take me back. You mentioned the corporate world and the corporate life. Take me back, and I believe we talked about this in the pre-chat a little bit, and take me back to the year before you got involved with the Belford Group. Take me back. What did that year look like, if you can talk through that? And jump, like what was the aha moment for you to get in there? So let's start with the year before, and then walk me through this transition into what you're doing today.
So I spent several years corporate right after college. The year, actually thinking about this, the year before I left was largely pandemic time. So it was 2020 into 2021, where so much of life came under evaluation. So much of us were prompted with, is this actually what I want to do? And is this really what I want to be facing?
Yep.
I have a pattern throughout my life that, without sounding too braggy, I'm pretty smart and I'm really good at picking up new skills. I have had to learn that just because you are good at something does not mean you have to spend your time doing it.
For
For
sure.
example, when I was in high school, I passed AP Calculus A, B, and BC exams. I hate math, and I was very good at it, but I pretty much hate it. And I only took those classes in high school so that I wouldn't have to take any when I went to college.
Exactly.
When I was corporate, I found myself in that same pattern, that there were so many things that I was good at and that people would praise me for. And my little people pleaser self loved getting that appreciation and all that praise.
Yeah.
And I hit a point where I was like, wow, I really just feel so meh about work. And I even shared with my boss at the time, like, I'm not loving what I'm doing. She's like, that's crazy. You're so good at it.
Yeah.
And it was like, it is crazy that I am good at it. I don't like
I don't like it at all.
That's okay. That's weird. That's okay. And I think that there are people who find themselves in the other camp. They love to do something that they're not very good at.
Yep.
But it's also okay to say, I just don't like this thing that I am good at.
Yep.
And so I hit a point where I realized the only reason I was staying with my company is because I was extremely loyal to my boss. And I was so grateful for her mentorship and the way that she poured into me.
Yep.
And it was about 1 week later, after I wrote that out in a journal, that she told me she would be leaving the company. And I was like, holy cow. What an obvious sign that it is my time to go and to pull the eject cord.
Yeah.
And because of the timing within the pandemic, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, my dad, the co-owner of the Belford Group, with my mom, said, hey, I can afford your salary. Come work with me for a little while.
Wow.
Within that, I have now gotten to incubate this coaching practice to really figure out, hey, here's something that I'm good at that I also love doing.
Yeah.
And here we are, 4 years later, really finding passion every single day, not just doing something because I'm good at it.
Totally. Yeah, that's really the holy grail of finding something that you love and that you're really good at. Like they always say, the cliche is like, you'll never work a day of life. You love what you do, right?
Right.
I heard that a long time ago, and that's the line of work that I ended up getting into, which is what we do. Love every second of it. Similar to you, very passion driven, love what we do, and we're good at it. I played golf growing up. That was my sport, and played a lot of like weekend rounds, like all these old guys and stuff. Is just, you just get partnered up if you're familiar with golf, but it's got to get partnered up. And I heard multiple times, like, as I was like in this developmental phase of these guys saying the worst round of golf is better than the best. I'm sorry. Yes. The worst round of golf is better than the best day of work.
Mhm.
And I was like, God, I was also a very avid golfer, so that didn't make sense at all to me. But it also aligned that a lot of people do stuff that they don't enjoy doing. They're not good at, or maybe they're okay at it, but they don't love it. And they're just going through the grind. And we work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you do, and leaders.
Mhm.
And your story right there kind of illuminates everything. Like you've paired passion and you've paired this purpose together and what you're really good at. So I think that is so, so cool. And I hope other people take that knowledge and run with that, or take that little nugget, right? Our
Yeah.
sitting in the as a fly on the wall between we have this combo and we talk to them every single week and we say similar things. So I love to just hear your perspective on that. And so I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, and I love the way that you guys approach this conversation of defining moments and what are those things that made you sort of take a turn. Because if you're sitting in a job that you don't love,
Yeah.
but maybe you've become good at,
Mhm.
maybe you have to create your defining moment. Maybe you need to be the reason. We had a conversation recently of would you rather be fired or would you rather quit? And I was surprised by the number of people who would rather be fired from their job because it didn't have to be their choice.
Totally.
And I think that that's really indicative of a lot of people today would rather let it be somebody else's choice for them. And yet it can be your choice for you to have a defining moment and say, yeah, I think I'm going to do something different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it just takes that push over the edge or something that happens in life. Kind of similar to you, very spiritual in the sense of I'm very self-aware of signs that happen. Like
Mm,
you said, you were journaling. We talk about journaling in our program all the time. And your boss who you loved and this person you looked up to left. Like that's your sign. Okay, done. I've learned what I've learned. I've taken the good and I'm moving forward.
right.
So very, very powerful. As we come up to time, Sami, what is one thing you want to leave with our audience? Something they can either do, something tactical, some piece of inspiration. What is one thing
Mm.
you want to leave with them today?
I would love to encourage people, especially if you are wanting to improve your communication, ask people what they think about how you communicate.
Cool.
Seek out that advice and genuinely and authentically let it sit in. Know that you're asking people to give you maybe critical advice, but that was actually for me a defining moment when I was in junior high. As I had a friend that I said, "Why do people think that I'm this not serious person? What can I do to change people's impression of me?" And she gave me advice that at the time is kind of silly, but really rung out. She said, "Stop abbreviating in your text messages. Be professional all the time." This is to a ninth grader. Don't be BRB all the time. And I think that seeking out feedback from other people can be really, really, really powerful. So if you're looking for a thing to do to improve your communication, ask for that feedback. You got to be a little bit bold with it. You get sometimes a little bit risky,
Put yourself.
but it can really change the way that you communicate and the way that other people perceive you.
That's so good. That's so good. Yeah, I love that. I love that. In one of our companies, we basically stuck our neck out, similar to you, and
Mhm.
we do these one-on-ones, and we asked almost everybody that same question: is how rate our communication. What do you like? What do you not like? And I've always been like the yes man, the very, very empathetic person. And I got feedback almost from everybody. You kind of dance around the bush a little bit too much. Like, give us a little bit more direct. Some people like that to kind of warm them and cuddle them and then hit them with what it is.
Mhm.
Majority of people, they just want to hear it straight. Also, like attention spans even shorter. Like, just give it to me so I can learn, digest, and move on. So I love your advice, and I'm really, really excited that people are going to hear that.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, I think it can really be a game changer for anybody.
So powerful. So if people want to reach out to you, find you, connect with you, get in touch with the Belford Group, where would they go?
Yeah, they can go to thebelfordgroup.com, or you can email me at Sami, SAMI, at thebelfordgroup.com. And I would love to talk, chat more. You guys can schedule discovery call, download our ebooks, whatever it is that could be helpful to help build your communication skills.
That is amazing. Sami, appreciate you being on the show so much. I love the combo. I love the energy, and we hope to have you back one day.
Okay. Thanks so much. I'd love to be back.
All righty. We'll see you later. All righty, guys. What a great show. Hopefully you picked up just some incredible nuggets there. That was really, really powerful, that last statement of get feedback, get critical feedback, and be open to it. We talk about it all the time in our program. So take her advice. It's amazing advice. Well, thank you guys so much for being here at the Peak Podcast. Stay tuned, like, subscribe for more great episodes like Sami, and we will see you guys on the next Peak Podcast.